looking down a camera and looking these people in the eyes. They're telling you these horrific stories.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the motivation for me is just to get the story out there, because you see stories like this. You know, the story about the hospitals being full was another one last year, and you think, oh, you just want to go out there with a camera and prove to people that it's a lie, you know. And with the midazolam story, I mean, it's so easy for them to cover up the paperwork, and so you're going around interviewing these people and seeing their pain and heartache, and you just want to try and present that to the world as succinctly as possible so that people understand what's going on.
Of course. I mean, is there advice in the film for people? Because I've heard loads. When these midazolam stories started coming out, suddenly people going, well, hang on a minute, like, my nan's in a care home, or you know, my dad's in hospital at the moment, and I swear that he's been, you know. So is there advice in the film what people can do to get relatives out of these institutions?
I mean, obviously the main thing is try and keep them away as much as possible before they get in, you know. And once they're in there, just watch them like a hawk, because they're so sneaky. And you know, it's easy for people to say, oh, it's just individual cases, it's a bad actor, it's a nurse that didn't know, ignorance,
of course,
whatever.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually top-down protocol, so you've really got to watch them like a hawk and make sure that they don't give them something that, you know, they shouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, there was one lady that we spoke to before who was saying that she went in and got her nan out. They'd basically said that it was game over and you know.
Yeah, I spoke to her recently.
Yeah.
I think she's still okay. I think she's still doing all right.
So she was supposed to have a few days to live, and she's been around for at least another 18 months.
Yeah, I've heard quite a few cases of that, actually.
It's insane, isn't it? So when's the film out?
It's coming out in a few weeks, start of December.
Do you know where people can watch it? Because obviously it's on Iconic, but a lot of the time with Iconic, we try and put things out as a live stream, you know, on the Facebook page or on the YouTube and stuff when it's first released. Do you know if that's going to be happening?
Yeah, we're going to have an event for the launch.
That would be great.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been talking about it on Twitter. Gillian McKeith posted it yesterday on Twitter, and how many? It had 21,000 views.
21,000,
that was the promo
yeah.
video, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
last
great.
time we looked, and lots of really positive comments, and it shows that a lot of people are very, very aware of what's going on, and that, I think that's a lot to do, you know, with what we've done and what we've put out there on various platforms.
I think the one thing that people struggled with, because you could explain away the second wave with lockdown deaths as a result of a lack of treatment, cancer not being diagnosed and treated and stuff like that, and then obviously you can have your third wave where you can look at this vaccine rollout which has done the damage that it's done. And the trouble people had lots of conversations with people with the first wave. Well, explain the first wave then. Why did so many people die in care homes in the March and April? And you've just come forward and presented the evidence for what that is. And I think that's why people are so interested in it, because it's a massive part of the COVID narrative destroyed.
I've noticed that, I think with the people I've spoken to, it's more hospitals than care homes actually, and also people in their own homes. So it's like there's no escape. But I don't know how they choose who. There's some kind of frailty score that they use on people. But I think the overriding thing is if an elderly person in particular has been in hospital more than 3 times in a year, that it's like 3 strikes and you're out sort of situation. So people that I know who've been in 3 times and then they needed to go in again, that's when they get them. Because it costs a fortune to have a person in hospital. Like, it can cost thousands every week, you know, depending on what treatment they're having. Yeah. So it is all about money. I mean, you know, if they cut someone off in their 70s, they've saved 20 years worth of pensions. You know, they could have lived another 20 years. So, and that adds up. And then, of course, the hospital costs as well.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the Conservative Party being quite open and frank about that a few years ago, about the fact that this ageing population was not sustainable, and the amount of money it was going to cost just was impossible for them to almost quantify. And it's like, problem solved. Right. How dark. But it's so important that people see this film.
I said to you before, if you were an evil overlord wanting to save money, that's the most obvious thing to do. Yeah. Get rid of all the old people and the people who are claiming benefits. They're costing us a fortune, you know.
Yeah, useless eaters.
Yeah.
That's it. But thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for talking to us, and I can't wait to see the film.
Thanks for having us, yeah.
Thanks.